If you're over 60, every hour you spend in bed, every night you close your eyes, may hold more power over your heart than you realize. We've been told for years that sleep is just about feeling rested, that it's something we do if we have time. But what if I told you that the way you sleep, the time you sleep, even the habits you carry into your bedroom each night could be silently damaging your heart? I've spent more than 30 years as a heart doctor working with older adults, and there's one heartbreaking pattern I see again and again. People who eat well, exercise, take their medications, and yet still end up with high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, even strokes, all because of one overlooked habit: poor sleep hygiene. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the silent but dangerous nighttime habits that could be aging your heart faster than time. And more importantly, I'll show you how to reverse the damage, one night at a time. Please, stay with me. The first mistake may already be happening in your home tonight. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Skipping sleep, your heart's silent enemy. For most of our lives, sleep feels optional, something we push aside for work, family, or late-night television. But after the age of 60, sleep becomes a form of medicine, and when you start skipping it, whether by choice or by habit, you're not just losing rest, you're harming your heart. What many older adults don't realize is that your heart relies on sleep just as much as it relies on your medications, diet, or blood pressure control. During deep sleep, your body enters what cardiologists call nocturnal dipping, a natural, healthy lowering of blood pressure and heart rate. It's the one time in a 24-hour cycle where the heart isn't on high alert, constantly pumping against daily stress. But when you don't get enough sleep, or your sleep is broken and shallow, your heart never gets that rest. Your blood pressure stays elevated through the night. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline remain high, keeping your cardiovascular system in fight or flight mode. Over time, this adds up to real physical damage. Left ventricular hypertrophy, thickening of the heart muscle. Increased risk of atrial fibrillation, AFib. Accelerated plaque buildup in arteries. And even a higher risk of stroke or heart attack, especially in the early morning hours when your body is already vulnerable. I once treated a man named Daniel, a 69-year-old retired mail carrier from rural Indiana. Daniel was active, didn't smoke, and was proud of his heart-healthy eating habits. But he came into my office one morning feeling foggy, short of breath, and just off, as he put it. His blood pressure was unusually high, especially for someone so health conscious. When I asked about his sleep, he shrugged it off. "Doc, I get about 4 hours. I'm just one of those people who doesn't need much sleep." What he didn't know was that this tough it out approach was slowly wearing out his heart. A sleep study confirmed that he wasn't reaching deep restorative sleep, ever. His heart was under stress all night long, every night. His left ventricle was already starting to thicken. His nighttime blood pressure stayed as high as most people's during rush hour traffic. He was in the danger zone and didn't even know it. We worked together to build a nightly routine that helped his body relearn how to rest. No caffeine after 1 p.m., dimmed lights in the evening, and most importantly, respecting sleep as a part of his treatment and not a luxury. Within 3 months, his numbers improved. And more importantly, he told me he felt peaceful again for the first time in years. What seniors often don't hear, and what I need you to understand, is this: sleep is not optional after 60. It's survival. Skipping sleep silently pushes your heart to the edge, and like a worn out engine, it doesn't break loudly and it breaks suddenly. So before you dismiss a night of poor sleep as no big deal, remember this: your heart never forgets what your body skips. One bad night adds pressure, 5 bad nights builds damage. A lifetime of poor sleep leads to heartbreak, literally. But sleep is only part of the danger. Because even if you fall asleep easily, what if the very light in your bedroom is secretly sabotaging your heart from the inside out? Let me show you what that means next. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Sleeping with the TV on, the light that raises blood pressure. For many older Americans, falling asleep to the soft hum of the television or keeping a gentle nightlight glowing beside the bed feels comforting, like having a familiar friend in the room. After all, the silence of nighttime can feel heavy, even lonely. A little light, a little background noise. What harm could it possibly do? But I need you to hear this clearly. That simple, innocent habit, sleeping with the TV on or keeping your bedroom lit, is quietly and consistently raising your blood pressure while you sleep. And night after night, it is silently damaging your heart. You see, your body is wired to follow something called a circadian rhythm, your internal 24-hour clock. This rhythm is controlled by light and darkness. When your eyes sense darkness, your brain releases melatonin, a hormone that tells your heart and blood vessels, it's time to rest, you're safe, slow down. But when there's even a small source of artificial light from a television screen, hallway light, or bedside lamp, that message gets confused. Your body doesn't produce enough melatonin. And when melatonin drops, something dangerous happens. Your blood pressure stays elevated, your heart rate remains slightly higher, and your cardiovascular system never fully powers down. This means your heart is doing daytime work in the middle of the night. One of my patients, Elaine, a 76-year-old widow from Kansas City, came to see me after experiencing frequent morning headaches and fatigue. Her blood pressure was spiking first thing in the morning, despite good diet and medications. She told me she fell asleep every night to old westerns on the TV, something that had brought her comfort since her husband passed 5 years earlier. It helps the silence feel less heavy, she said, her voice quiet. But when I explained to her that the glow from the TV was keeping her heart on alert, night after night, she was shocked. We ran a 24-hour blood pressure monitor, and what we found was chilling. Her nighttime blood pressure never dropped. There was no dip, a condition we call non-dipping hypertension. In older adults, this is a powerful predictor of stroke, heart failure, and sudden cardiac death. Even more alarming, Elaine had no idea. She wasn't overweight, she walked every morning, she took her medication faithfully, but her heart was under stress every single night, and all because of the soft flicker of a television screen. We worked together to create a new bedtime routine, turning off all screens 1 hour before sleep, using a soft amber reading light if needed, and wearing an eye mask in case streetlights crept through her window. Within just a few weeks, her blood pressure began dipping properly again, and the morning headache stopped. I never thought darkness could be medicine, she told me, but for the heart, it absolutely is. This is the part no one warns you about. Light pollution, even in your own bedroom, doesn't feel dangerous. But for seniors, it disrupts the very system that protects the heart at night. It keeps cortisol high, it keeps blood vessels tense, it prevents the quiet repair work that only sleep and darkness can bring. So please, for your heart's sake, Turn the TV off. Let the room go dark. Let your body and heart receive the signal they've been waiting for. You can rest now. You are safe. But even if your room is dark and peaceful, what if the reason you wake up 3, 4, even 5 times a night isn't the light, but your bladder? And what if those nightly bathroom trips were doing more harm to your heart than you ever imagined? Let me tell you why next. 3. Frequent bathroom trips. A signal, not just an inconvenience. If you're over 60 and waking up multiple times during the night to use the bathroom, you might think it's just part of aging, a harmless annoyance, something to accept and push through. But what if I told you that those trips to the bathroom aren't just stealing your rest? They may be quietly placing dangerous strain on your heart. In my years of treating older adults, I've found this to be one of the most overlooked, misunderstood, and dangerous patterns: fragmented sleep due to nocturia, the medical term for frequent nighttime urination. You see, sleep isn't just about how many hours you lie in bed, it's about how deep and continuous those hours are. Each time you wake up to use the restroom, even if it's just for a minute or two, your body is jolted out of the restorative sleep stage that your heart depends on. And for older adults whose bodies already work harder to maintain balance, this disruption is no small matter. When your sleep is repeatedly interrupted, your blood pressure stays elevated. The sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, kicks in. Cortisol levels surge, your blood vessels tighten, and your heart, which should be slowing down, instead stays on high alert through the night. I treated a man named James, 73 years old, a retired machinist from Detroit. He came into my office complaining of morning dizziness, occasional chest tightness, and relentless daytime fatigue. At first, he brushed it off as just getting older. But when I asked about his sleep, he admitted something that changed everything. "Doc, I'm up at least 4 times a night to pee, sometimes 5. I don't even feel tired when I wake up. I feel exhausted." We ordered a 24-hour blood pressure monitor and ran a heart rhythm study. The results were alarming. His blood pressure remained elevated throughout the night, and each time he woke to urinate, his heart rate surged unexpectedly, but small spikes, but consistent. His heart wasn't just tired, it was being overworked in the very hours it should have been recovering. Digging deeper, we learned James had an enlarged prostate, a common issue in older men, but no one had ever explained how it could be affecting his heart. We sent him to a urologist and adjusted his evening fluid intake. More importantly, we developed a bedtime strategy, limiting late liquids, addressing underlying prostate issues, and using a calming wind down routine. Within a month, James was waking only once per night. His blood pressure dropped into a healthier range, his fatigue lifted, and his chest discomfort vanished. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Doc, I didn't know peeing too much at night could push my heart that far." And that's what frightens me most. So many older adults are living like James, waking again and again, believing it's just part of aging, while their hearts are crying out for rest and rhythm. The more your sleep is interrupted, the more your heart suffers in silence. If you're getting up multiple times a night, don't ignore it. It's not just age, it's a signal, one your heart and kidneys may be sending you. Talk to your doctor. Ask about medications, prostate health, or signs of underlying conditions like diabetes or heart failure. Because the damage doesn't wait until morning. It builds in the quiet of the night, one wake up at a time. And here's something even more alarming. What if I told you that some people's hearts are under attack, not just because of how often they wake up, but because they literally stop breathing in their sleep without even knowing it? Let me tell you about the sound most dangerous to a senior's heart, the sound of loud snoring, and why it may be warning you of something far more serious than anyone ever told you. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Snoring and sleep. Apnea, the most dangerous sound in the room. It starts as something almost humorous. Your partner snores, maybe you do too. You laugh about it at breakfast or joke with your kids when they visit. But what if I told you that snoring isn't just noise? What if I told you that, especially after age 60, it could be one of the most dangerous signs your heart is under attack while you sleep and you don't even know it? Let's make this clear. Loud, persistent snoring is not normal aging. In most cases, it's a warning signal, a red flag pointing to a condition called sleep apnea, and it's one of the most underdiagnosed threats to heart health in older adults. Sleep apnea is a condition where your breathing stops and starts repeatedly during sleep, sometimes dozens, even hundreds of times a night. Every time it happens, oxygen drops, the brain panics, the body jolts into fight or flight mode. And what organ takes the biggest hit? Your heart. Each time your breathing stops, your blood pressure spikes, your heart rhythm may flip out of sync, your blood vessels constrict. Over time, this nightly cycle trains your heart to stay in high stress mode even during rest. That leads to chronic high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, AFib, heart enlargement, and eventually heart failure. Let me tell you about Nancy, a 71-year-old grandmother from Ohio. She came to me complaining of morning headaches, dry mouth, and the feeling that no matter how long she slept, she was always tired. Her daughter, who had moved in to help care for her, mentioned something that changed everything. Mom snores so loud the windows shake. Sometimes it even sounds like she stops breathing. That one sentence sent up alarms. We arranged for a sleep study, and the results were startling. Nancy was experiencing severe obstructive sleep apnea, stopping her breathing over 30 times an hour. That meant her heart was being jolted awake, night after night, all night long. When we looked at her heart scans, the damage was already underway. Her left atrium was enlarged, her heart rhythm irregular. She had no idea this was happening to her. I thought I was just getting older, she whispered through tears. We immediately started treatment with a CPAP device to keep her airway open while she slept. Within a month, Nancy was sleeping through the night. Her energy improved, the headache stopped, and most importantly, her heart stabilized. Her risk of stroke and heart failure dropped dramatically simply because she could breathe again in her sleep. That's the terrifying truth about sleep apnea. You won't feel it. You won't wake up gasping for air most of the time. You'll just feel tired, foggy, a little off. And by the time symptoms become obvious, the damage to your heart may already be well underway. And for many seniors, especially those who live alone, no one is there to notice the snoring or the long, frightening silences between breaths. So if you've been told you snore, if you wake up with a dry throat or morning headaches, if you feel like 8 hours of sleep still leaves you exhausted, please talk to your doctor. Don't ignore it. This is treatable, and catching it early could save your life. Because while snoring may seem like a joke, the truth is far from funny. It's often the sound of your heart struggling to survive the night. But not every danger to your heart is so loud. Some of the most harmful habits hide in things we believe are helping, like that nightly glass of wine or bourbon to help us relax. What if that calming sip is quietly setting your heart up for failure? Let's talk about that next. 5. Drinking alcohol to fall asleep. A false friend. There's something about a glass of wine at night that feels comforting, especially in our later years. It's familiar. It takes the edge off. For some, it brings a sense of ritual, a way to unwind, to slow the thoughts, to ease the loneliness that can creep in when the house goes quiet. Many seniors tell me, "It helps me fall asleep, doc. Just one glass." But here's the part no one wants to talk about. That one glass of alcohol, especially after age 60, may be quietly wrecking your heart during the very hours it needs protection the most. Alcohol may feel like a friend to sleep, but it's a false friend. It doesn't help you rest. It sedates you, which is something entirely different. It may knock you out faster, but what it steals in return is your deep, healing sleep, the kind your heart depends on to lower blood pressure, regulate rhythm, and repair from the wear and tear of the day. In older adults, the body processes alcohol more slowly. Your liver, which once metabolized a cocktail with ease, now takes longer. That means the alcohol stays in your system deeper into the night, disrupting your REM sleep, triggering nighttime blood pressure spikes, and overstimulating your nervous system when it should be winding down. I remember a man named Carl, a 75-year-old retired Navy veteran who came to my clinic with vague symptoms, fatigue, nighttime palpitations, and early morning headaches. He wasn't overweight, he walked daily, his diet was clean, but his blood pressure remained high and irregular despite medication. When we spoke about his routine, he hesitated and then admitted, "I've been having a few fingers of bourbon before bed. Helps me sleep. I've been doing it since the service." We ran a 24-hour heart monitor and a home sleep test. The results were sobering. Carl's heart rate spiked erratically throughout the night, particularly in the early morning hours. His REM cycles were fractured. His blood pressure dropped too low at first, then rebounded with intensity, a dangerous pattern that can lead to atrial fibrillation, nighttime angina, or even early morning stroke. The alcohol was relaxing his airway muscles, making subtle sleep apnea worse. But more critically, it was keeping his autonomic nervous system in chaos, sending mixed signals to his cardiovascular system all night long. We worked together to taper off the nightly bourbon. He switched to warm chamomile tea, dimmed the lights earlier, and added guided breathing before bed. Within weeks, Carl reported that his sleep felt cleaner, and his heart monitor confirmed it. Steadier rhythms, fewer nighttime spikes, more restorative sleep. He looked me in the eyes and said, "I thought I was helping myself. Turns out I was poisoning the only peace my heart gets." That stuck with me, and I want it to stay with you too. Because the truth is, even one glass of alcohol can act like a stimulant in disguise, disrupting your heartbeat, interfering with your medications, dehydrating your system, and blocking melatonin. And for someone over 60, those effects are magnified. You may not feel it after one drink. You may even sleep through the night. But what your heart remembers is the stress, the roller coaster it's forced to ride when alcohol changes the terrain of your sleep. And the scariest part, most seniors think it's helping until it's too late. If you're using alcohol to fall asleep, I urge you to reconsider. There are safer ways to calm the body and mind. And your heart, which works for you every second of every day, deserves more than sedation. It deserves true rest. But even if you avoid alcohol, there's another sleep disruptor that most seniors never see coming. It sneaks in quietly during the day and shows up in the worst way at night. Let's talk about naps. Yes, naps. And why too much of a good thing might be sabotaging your heart without you even realizing it. 6. Long naps. The sleep thief in disguise. At first glance, a nap in the afternoon sounds like the most innocent habit in the world, even healthy. You've earned it. You've lived decades giving your energy to family, work, service, and sacrifice. And now, in your golden years, why not lie back in the recliner, feel the sun through the curtains, and drift off for a little while. But here's the hidden truth almost no one tells seniors. Long naps, especially in the late afternoon, may be quietly robbing your heart of the rest it truly needs, and placing your cardiovascular health at greater risk. As a heart doctor, I've watched patients struggle to understand why their sleep at night feels restless, why their blood pressure won't go down, or why they wake up at 3 a.m. wide awake. Often the answer lies not in what they do at night, but what they're doing during the day. When you take extended naps, especially over 60 to 90 minutes, and especially late in the day, your body's internal clock, circadian rhythm, gets confused. This biological rhythm, which governs everything from blood pressure to hormone release to sleep cycles, starts to lose its anchor. For seniors, this misalignment is critical. Instead of winding down naturally in the evening, your body resists sleep at bedtime, delays the release of melatonin, and creates a cycle of insomnia, followed by dependence on long naps to catch up. But the more naps you take, the more disrupted your night becomes, and the cycle repeats. The most dangerous part? Your heart never gets its true recovery window. I remember a woman named Dolores, 79, from Santa Rosa, California, a retired librarian with a calm spirit and gentle smile. She came to my clinic complaining of shortness of breath in the mornings and a growing feeling of mental fog throughout the day. Her nighttime sleep was erratic, and her blood pressure would spike around 4 a.m. We did a full cardiac workup. Her heart showed signs of early diastolic dysfunction, a common but dangerous condition where the heart becomes stiff and struggles to relax between beats. What stood out, though, was her daily routine. Dolores was napping from 3 p.m. to nearly 5:30 p.m. every afternoon. She described it as my peaceful time, and she truly believed it was helping her body recover. But in reality, her long naps were shifting her body's sleep schedule forward by hours. Her circadian rhythm had become delayed, a condition known as sleep phase delay syndrome. The result? Her heart wasn't entering its normal recovery pattern until after dawn, long after it needed to. With guidance, we helped Dolores reduce her nap to 30 minutes right after lunch and moved her dinner earlier to allow for a consistent bedtime routine. She started using soft music, dim lights, and herbal tea to signal her body that nighttime was for rest, not recovery from a late day nap. Within weeks, the results were remarkable. Her blood pressure leveled, her energy returned, the fog lifted, and most importantly, her nighttime heart rhythm showed more regularity and less strain. Dolores looked at me one afternoon and said something that I've never forgotten. I thought I was resting, but I was actually hiding from the real rest I needed. So many seniors are doing the same. They don't feel rested after a full night's sleep, not realizing that their afternoon naps have sabotaged their ability to fall asleep naturally, deeply, and consistently at night. And the cost? A heart that never fully powers down, blood vessels that never relax, a nervous system that never resets. I'm not saying naps are bad. In fact, a short nap, 20 to 30 minutes right after lunch, can be refreshing and heart healthy. But anything longer, especially past mid-afternoon, begins to mimic nighttime sleep, and that tricks the brain, resets your rhythm, and robs your heart of its most important healing window. Think of it this way. Your heart needs one long, uninterrupted night of peace, not two scattered shifts of rest. So if you're relying on naps because your nights are restless, the solution may not be another hour on the couch, but rebalancing your rhythm entirely. And if you think naps are the only sneaky habit that confuses your heart and body clock, wait until you hear what's happening when you eat too late at night. That evening meal might be satisfying your stomach, but it could be secretly overheating your heart, disrupting your blood sugar and triggering stress hormones just as your body tries to fall asleep. Let me explain exactly how next. 7. Late night eating, fueling the heart at the wrong hour. For many seniors, the dinner table is one of the last comforting rituals of the day. Maybe it's the quiet time when the house finally settles down. Maybe it's when you catch the evening news, talk to your spouse, or enjoy a warm plate of your favorite comfort food. And for those living alone, that meal might be the only real event of the day, a small joy you hold on to. But what if I told you that eating late, especially after 7:30 or 8 p.m., may be one of the most dangerous habits for your heart, quietly sabotaging your sleep, raising your blood pressure, and forcing your heart to work overtime when it should be resting? The truth is, your body runs on rhythm, and so does your heart. After sunset, your metabolism begins to slow down. Your digestive system winds down. Your blood sugar regulation weakens, and your cardiovascular system prepares for sleep, not digestion. So when you introduce a heavy, starchy, or salty meal late at night, you throw your internal clock into confusion. Your core body temperature rises, your blood sugar spikes, and worst of all, your heart rate and blood pressure increase when they should be dropping into peaceful rest. For seniors whose bodies are already slower to metabolize food, this mismatch between meal timing and heart rhythm can lead to elevated nighttime blood pressure, increased nighttime cortisol, stress hormone, reduced melatonin production, higher risk of nighttime angina or heart palpitations, disrupted REM sleep and shallow breathing patterns. One of my patients, Arthur, a 78-year-old retired railroad engineer from Missouri, came to see me complaining of tightness in his chest at night and feeling groggy and bloated in the mornings. His blood pressure was unusually high at bedtime, and he was waking up multiple times a night feeling anxious, even though he denied any real stress. As we reviewed his daily habits, something stood out. Arthur ate dinner every night around 9 p.m., usually something hearty, pasta, sausage, even steak and potatoes. He told me, "Doc, I eat late because I don't get hungry till later. It helps me sleep with a full belly." But that full belly was deceiving him. It was placing his heart in conflict with his gut. We tracked his blood pressure for several nights. Each time he ate late, his readings went up, not down, in the hours before midnight. His heart was pumping harder, his digestion was still active, and his sympathetic nervous system, the one that should have been asleep, was wide awake. We made small but powerful changes. Arthur began eating dinner no later than 6:30 p.m., choosing lighter meals like grilled chicken with vegetables or a bowl of soup with whole grains. If he felt hungry later, he allowed himself a small piece of fruit or a cup of warm almond milk. Within 3 weeks, his blood pressure before bed was significantly lower. He slept through the night without chest discomfort, and he told me something that hit home. "I didn't know my heart was working that hard to process dinner. I thought food helped me rest. I didn't realize it was fighting me all night long." And that's exactly what happens to so many seniors, silently. You may not feel it at first. You may even sleep through the night. But beneath the surface, your heart is caught in a tug of war between digestion and rest. What you eat matters, but when you eat matters just as much, maybe especially after 60. If you're struggling with sleep, blood pressure, or nighttime restlessness, don't just look at your medications. Look at your plate. Give your heart time to wind down. Eat earlier. Eat lighter. And allow your body to return to its natural rhythm. Because when your heart can rest in sync with your sleep, it heals more deeply, beats more steadily, and protects you more fully. But late night meals aren't the only hidden stimulant. There's something even more common, something millions of seniors rely on every day, that might still be in your system at midnight, keeping your heart from truly resting. Let's talk about caffeine and why even your harmless afternoon cup of coffee could be keeping your heart on edge long after the sun goes down. 8. Caffeine. After 2 p.m., a heart stimulant that lingers. For many older adults, that afternoon cup of coffee or tea feels like a little ritual, a moment of calm in the middle of the day. Maybe it's part of your routine after lunch. Maybe it helps you get through the afternoon slump, or gives you something to enjoy while reading the paper or watching the news. And after all, you've been drinking coffee your whole life. What harm could it do now? But here's what too many seniors don't realize. After age 60, caffeine doesn't leave your body the way it used to. It lingers, quietly, stubbornly, and it can keep your heart in a state of alert long after your head hits the pillow. As we age, our liver function naturally slows down, and the enzymes responsible for breaking down caffeine, particularly CYP1A2, become less efficient. What that means is simple. The cup of coffee or tea you drink at 3 p.m., it might still be active in your bloodstream at midnight, and your heart, instead of resting, stays slightly elevated, agitated, and tense. Caffeine stimulates the central nervous system. It blocks adenosine, the neurotransmitter that promotes sleep and relaxation. It raises heart rate. It slightly constricts blood vessels. And in seniors, especially those with underlying hypertension or arrhythmias, this subtle stimulation can translate into dangerous cardiovascular strain. I remember one patient clearly, Edna, 81, from Spokane, Washington, a sharp, independent woman who still ran her own book club and volunteered at her church. Edna came to me with complaints of restless nights, sudden nighttime awakenings, and an odd flutter in her chest after midnight. She assumed it was just anxiety. She had no history of heart disease, no smoking, and her weight was well managed. As I reviewed her habits, one detail jumped out. Every afternoon, around 3:30 p.m., Edna brewed a large mug of black tea. It calms me, she said, and keeps me from nodding off before dinner. But her body wasn't calming. Her heart was staying activated. We ordered a 24-hour Holter monitor, and the results revealed intermittent tachycardia, elevated heart rate spikes occurring mostly between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m., right when she should have been in deep healing sleep. We also measured her overnight blood pressure, and it showed a worrying trend: no nighttime dip. Her sympathetic nervous system, which should have gone quiet after sunset, was staying partially engaged, likely due to the lingering effects of caffeine. Once we eliminated all caffeine after 2 p.m. and replaced her tea with a gentle herbal blend, her symptoms began to ease. Within a few weeks, her sleep deepened, the fluttering stopped, and she told me with a smile, "Doc, I didn't realize that little cup of tea was waking up my heart." And she's not alone. Many seniors drink coffee, black tea, or even dark chocolate in the afternoon or evening without realizing how long those compounds stay in their system. It's not just about falling asleep. It's about what your heart is doing while you think you're resting. If you're waking up feeling wired, unsettled, or with your heart racing, don't just look at your sleep. Look at your caffeine intake. Because even a little can tip the balance, especially when paired with age-related changes in metabolism, kidney function, and heart sensitivity. And remember, caffeine is sneaky. It's not just in coffee. It's in green tea, chocolate, colas, and many decaf beverages, which still contain trace amounts. After 60, your body isn't asking for more fuel. It's begging for a break. So here's my advice. Stop all caffeine intake after 2 p.m. Give your body, and especially your heart, the full night of peace it needs. Because while a cup of coffee might help you feel awake today, it could be costing your heart the healing it needs tonight. And now, let me take you somewhere even deeper, into the signs your heart may already be begging for help while you sleep, even if you don't remember a single thing when you wake up. Let me tell you about the strange and silent fatigue that so many seniors brush off, and why it may be the most important warning your heart will ever send. 9. Ignoring daytime fatigue, a sign your heart is asking for help. There's a kind of tiredness that feels different after 60. It's not the kind that comes from mowing the lawn or taking care of grandkids. It's deeper. It's quieter. It makes you sit down more often, nap longer, think slower. But it's easy to brush off. After all, isn't feeling tired just part of growing older? But what if I told you that this kind of persistent fatigue isn't just about aging? It's often your heart's way of asking for help? And the tragedy is, too many seniors ignore it until it becomes something irreversible. You see, your body is smart, and after age 60, it starts to speak in subtler ways. One of those ways is through unshakable tiredness, especially during the day. You might be sleeping 7 or 8 hours a night. You might not feel sick, but deep down, something feels off. That's not laziness. That's not age. That could be your heart signaling early distress. When your heart is not resting properly at night, whether due to poor sleep quality, apnea, nighttime blood pressure spikes, or overstimulation from food or caffeine, it never gets the chance to recover. That means the next day you feel the cost. Your energy is depleted, your concentration fades, your motivation disappears. But more dangerously, your heart starts falling behind, working harder just to keep up with basic demands. I had a patient named Raymond, 74, a retired mechanic from Colorado Springs. He was sharp, kind, and proud of his independence. But when he came to see me, his biggest complaint was, "I just don't have any gas in the tank anymore." He wasn't dizzy. He wasn't in pain. He just felt drained. He was sleeping 8 hours, eating right, even walking a bit in the mornings. But by lunchtime, he was exhausted. We ran a full cardiovascular workup, including an overnight sleep study. What we found was startling. Raymond was experiencing repeated nighttime surges in blood pressure, the kind that silently damaged the heart over time. He wasn't reaching deep sleep at all. And even worse, he was entering short bursts of arrhythmia, irregular heartbeat, while unconscious. He had no memory of it, no symptoms, but his heart was shouting in silence. Once we adjusted his medication timing, treated a mild case of sleep apnea, and rebuilt his nighttime routine, reducing light, caffeine, and late meals, things began to change. A month later, Raymond returned with a smile and energy in his eyes. "I feel like my battery actually holds a charge again," he said. That was his way of saying his heart had finally gotten the rest it needed. That's what I want you to understand. Fatigue is not a lifestyle. It's a message. It's your body waving a white flag, asking for relief, restoration, and rhythm. Don't ignore it. Don't tell yourself it's just because you're getting older. Fatigue that lingers, worsens, or appears without explanation is never normal, especially if it comes with shortness of breath, lightheadedness, or difficulty concentrating. These could be the early signs of heart failure, sleep-disrupted blood pressure, or arrhythmias developing behind the scenes. And too often, I see patients waiting until things escalate, until they collapse at the grocery store or find themselves in the ER whispering, "I thought I was just tired." Please don't wait for that moment. If your days are harder than they should be, if you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep, if naps don't help and your energy feels like it's fading, Talk to someone. Ask your doctor for a heart rhythm monitor or sleep evaluation. Your heart may be trying to tell you something while you sleep, but it's your daytime fatigue that reveals the truth. And if your heart could talk, it wouldn't ask for another nap. It would ask for restoration. Real, full body restoration that only comes when your lifestyle, sleep, and heart work in harmony. So now the question is, what can you actually do starting tonight to protect your heart while you sleep? Not in theory, not someday, but real changes that truly support your heart after 60 and help it beat stronger for years to come. Let me show you what those are and why they may be the most important habits you'll ever build. 10. What to do. Instead, sleep habits that truly support your heart under 60. After everything we've talked about, the late night eating, the caffeine, the long naps, the sleep apnea, the fatigue, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Many seniors do. You may be asking yourself, how did something as simple as sleep get so complicated? But here's the truth. Sleep is not complicated. It's sacred. And after the age of 60, it's no longer something your body can afford to get wrong. It's not just about rest, it's about restoration. And your heart depends on it. By the time you reach your 60s, your heart has already beaten over 2 billion times. It has been there for every joyful moment and every heartbreak, every family gathering, every funeral, every quiet Sunday morning. It has worked for you without pause, without asking for thanks. But now, it's asking for something in return. Consistency, gentle care, rhythm, and a full night of peace. That's why, more than any supplement, vitamin, or trendy superfood, I urge my older patients to focus on building heart-supportive sleep habits, small daily actions that allow your heart to slow down, restore, and keep beating strong through the years ahead. Let me tell you about Marcia, a 77-year-old widow and retired piano teacher from North Carolina. When I first met her, she was suffering from irregular heart rhythms and crushing fatigue. She was on 3 medications, eating a decent diet, and staying active. But her heart was strained, and her nights were restless. We looked closely at her routine. Her bedroom was too warm. She was drinking iced tea at 5 p.m. and falling asleep with the TV on. She didn't think any of it mattered, and no one had ever told her it did. I gave her one mission: let your body and heart return to nature's rhythm. We built a simple but powerful plan together. She turned off all screens 1 hour before bed. She kept her bedroom between 65-67 degrees, cool enough for melatonin to rise. She switched to herbal tea with no caffeine and began reading before bed under soft amber light. She ate dinner at 6 p.m., kept it light, and avoided snacks after. She started using white noise instead of the television to ease her into rest. She went to bed and woke up at the same time every day, even weekends. At her next appointment, she looked 10 years lighter. Her blood pressure had stabilized, her heart rate was smooth, her color was better. But more than that, she smiled and said, "Doc, I feel like I'm finally working with my body instead of against it." And that's what I want for you. You don't need to be perfect. You don't have to overhaul your whole life overnight. But if you can give your heart the peace it's been denied by calming your evenings, regulating your sleep, and honoring your body's need for deep rest, you'll feel the difference in ways that go far beyond sleep. You'll feel it in your breath, your clarity, your energy. You'll feel it in your courage. And yes, your next checkup, your next blood pressure reading, your next morning walk will feel easier. Because when your heart can finally rest, it can finally begin to heal. But here's something I want you to carry with you, and it's perhaps the most important truth of all. Even after everything you've been through, the illnesses, the surgeries, the losses, the regrets, your heart still has time. So let me say this to you plainly and with care in the final moments of this message because you deserve to hear it. Let's talk now, honestly, about what it means to truly honor the heart that's carried you this far. Your heart still has time, and so do you. By the time you reach your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s, you've lived through more than most people can imagine. You've watched the world change. You've raised families, built careers, buried loved ones, and held on to memories that the younger generation can't fully understand yet. You've endured heartaches and joy, served your country, supported your community, and helped others before you ever helped yourself. And through it all, one thing, one companion, has never left your side: your heart. It has worked for you faithfully, without complaint, day and night, in joy, in grief, in sickness, and in health. Your heart never took a day off, not once. But now, in this season of your life, it's asking something small and vital in return. It's asking for rest. It's asking for rhythm. It's asking for your attention. We often talk about protecting the heart through medication, diet, and exercise, and those things matter. But what's often left out, what too many people learn too late, is that sleep is the most overlooked form of heart medicine. Not just any sleep, but the kind that comes with intention, peace, and rhythm. Your body is different now. After 60, everything shifts. Your metabolism slows, your arteries become more rigid, your nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress and stimulation, your medications interact differently. What once felt harmless, a late meal, a glass of wine, an afternoon nap, a glowing TV, now may quietly undo the healing your heart is trying to achieve each night. This isn't fear-mongering, it's awareness. Because the danger is not always what you feel, it's what you don't. You don't feel a blood pressure spike at 2 a.m. You don't feel the inflammation creeping into your arteries after weeks of restless sleep. You don't feel the cortisol that quietly steals your recovery. But it happens. Slowly. Silently. Until one morning, something gives. And you find yourself wondering why. You don't need to live in fear. You need to live in partnership with your body again, to stop thinking of sleep as an afterthought and start seeing it as one of your most powerful tools for healing. Because here's the beautiful truth. It's not too late. Not at 60. Not at 70. Not even at 90. I've had patients in their 80s who made small changes, turning off the TV before bed, switching their evening coffee for chamomile tea, dimming the lights, eating dinner earlier, and their energy returned. Their blood pressure improved. They began sleeping through the night for the first time in years. And most importantly, they felt hopeful again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to participate. Start by asking yourself each evening, is what I'm doing right now feeding my heart or fighting it? The quiet decisions you make at 7 p.m. can shape how your heart beats at 2 a.m. And how your heart beats at 2 a.m. determines how long and how well it will beat for the rest of your life. So tonight, when the world begins to quiet down and you prepare for bed, do so with intention. Not out of fear, but out of respect for the incredible journey your body has carried you through. Your next heartbeat is a gift. So is your next breath. So is your next chance to take care of the only heart you'll ever have. You've taken care of others your whole life. Now, it's time to take care of you, starting with the simple act of giving your heart the full, peaceful sleep it's been longing for. because your heart still has time. And so do you. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.